The terrific freshman on the Canisius roster will jump center with Gary Springer Jr., a 6'9 junior from Union City, Georgia. Canisius, as you see in the road blue, Iona in the home white, and we are underway game 2 here in Albany.
Well, one of the reasons why Bobby Drinks, the walk-on, has played so much, especially coming down the stretch, he has a calming influence on this team.
Turner off the crossover, goes right around Dwight and lays it in.
As we said, he'll get himself into the lane. That's one of the keys for Iona. They've got to keep him out of the lane.
Frank Turner's assists have been up over the last couple of weeks, but he still is able to score at 12.7 per game. He is the top scoring option for Canisius. Camper off the screen and roll, calls his own number and puts it in.
Last time out, we saw Camper camp in the lane himself, turning the corner, getting into the lane. Last time out against Manhattan. First possession, he gets himself right into the paint.
Frazier, dump it off for Logans, who has to gather. Go up and in. Talk about somebody who has really had a strong finish to his freshman season. No one's been better lately than Greg Logans.
Well, he's been in double figures 5 straight, averaging 17 points and nearly 7 rebounds during that stretch, and 67% from the floor. Terrific numbers late in the season for the freshman.
There is the aforementioned Dexter Gray, the senior out of Mount Vernon, with his first 2. Again, he scored 21 and 20 in the 2 regular season victories over Canisius.
Apparently he likes playing against the Griffs, and certainly he has an advantage as far as size and strength. That's the difference between a 5th-year senior going up against young freshmen in the post.
Shot clock at 15. Canisius works the perimeter to Logans in the corner. And the rebound goes up and over top of the backboard. Tom Parada as part of our coaching matchup, brought to you by Anaconda Sports and The Rock. Year number 2 for Coach Parada. Only 5 wins during the regular season, all of them coming in the city of Buffalo. They have yet to win a road game or a neutral site game this season, trying to change that here tonight. Vasquez Simmons, one of the best shot blockers in the nation, picks up his first foul. There you see Kevin Willard in his first season, only 32 years old, as the head coach of the Gales.
Now, 6 seasons as an assistant at Louisville under Rick Pitino. Prior to that, he was with Pitino with the Boston Celtics organization.
Spent 4 years in the NBA with Pitino, and this is his first opportunity to be a head coach at the college level. Dwight with the first free throw, and Rashawn Dwight will get a second.
And he's made the most of this first opportunity as a head coach. He's improved the Gales by 10 wins so far and counting. He's done a very good job here in his first season. The son of longtime Holy Cross head coach Ralph Willard.
And this was after, Rob, Iona lost its first 6 games of this season, so I'm sure there were people in New Rochelle, even after the coaching change with Jeff Ruland being let go, and Coach Willard coming in saying, oh boy, here we go again. But since that 6-game losing streak at the head, Iona has pretty much been 500, 12 up, 13 down.
And one of the big keys was getting Gary Springer healthy, something that Jeff Ruland and Iona didn't have the luxury of last year, where Springer missed the entire season with his knee injury.
And Springer picks up the foul as Logans, who you can see has really rounded into a presence on the post, took the inbound pass, went up strong, and Springer hit with a personal.
Well, Tom Parada says, I got to make sure he doesn't hang around outside the 3-point line. You saw him step out last possession and try to knock down a 3, but he can be a very good, consistent scorer in the MAC, inside in the post. He's got good size and strength, and as he continues to refine his low post game, he certainly is going to be a presence in this league.
Now Logan, 6'7", 240, just a freshman out of Sodus, New York. And he was the leading rebounder in the conference among freshmen at 5.4 per game.
And a little surprising that he wasn't on one of the all-rookie teams, especially he's been the Rookie of the Week 3 out of the last 5 weeks coming down the stretch. A little bit like last year when Ryan Thompson, as well as Ronald Moore, 2 fine freshmen, didn't find themselves on the all-rookie team last year. Shows you the depth of the young players in the MAC.
Dexter Gray with his second field goal, 8-5 Iona. As you see, the Gales perfect from the floor so far here tonight.
And you see Iona, they'll mix up defenses all game long. They'll press, they'll show you man, now back into the 2-3 zone, extended out on the perimeter. What they'll also do late in possessions is go out of the zone to match straight man.
7 to shoot. Bevilacqua kicks to the corner. Turner's going to have to fire away shortly. 2 on the shot clock. It looked like that Rashawn Dwight got a piece of that shot, and so we've got a shot clock violation.
Took a while to get into their offense. Kevin Willard's team able to switch up, show zone the first time, and force a tough shot.
Well, this is the 3rd time in just less than a month that these two teams have faced each other. Their 2 regular season meetings were only 10 days apart back in early February. Milan Pradanovic, who has been in a shooting slump, misfires on his first attempt.
Boy, I'd say 1 of 11 from 3 over the last few games, the last 5 games. But that time it was a decent look. It wasn't a forced shot. If they can play inside out, now all of a sudden those are threes that are a lot easier to make.
Now Pradanovic, over those 5 games, Rob, has scored a total of 11 points. He averages over 9 per game. Bevilacqua on the board.
There's a guy that's been shooting it well. About a couple games ago against Loyola, career high 16, knocking down threes, 4 threes in that game against the Greyhounds.
He is a walk-on transfer from RIT, and now he is a starter at the Division I level, still non-scholarship.
It's really hard to believe this is a guy, when he was at RIT, that didn't put up any kind of numbers, averaged less than 3 points per game, but Tom Parada says, I am happy that he is with us, averaging nearly 6 points per game, and as I said, brings a calming influence, allows Frank Turner to get off the basketball where he's been more effective.
Rashawn Dwight takes a seat, and Deshaun Griffin into the ball game for the first time so far tonight for the Gales. He's the trigger man into Dexter Gray. And there is the 5th-year senior, transfer from St. John's, misfiring, and that's the first miss so far for the Gales, tied up at 8 early on in this first-round matchup. Turner uses the screen. Pradanovic fights through it. Turner still pulls the trigger. And the rebound comes down to Camper. Julius Coles has come into the game as well for Canisius. He helps double-team Gray, who tries to step through. Nice job by Dexter not to panic on that. Just take his time, find a teammate, and then they find the open man, and Pradanovic tries to shoot his way out of that slump.
It's amazing what happens when you're patient. Good ball reversal to make the extra pass, and so been able to get 2 good open looks from 3 early on.
The Gales have been hot to start. It's 11-8. Iona leading Canisius here early in the first half. We're in Albany, New York. It's Citizens Bank MAC Championships, men's first round, Canisius and Iona. Doug Sherman, Rob Kennedy with you. Glad you could be here this evening to see who will advance to take on second-seeded Rider tomorrow in the quarterfinals. Nice look from Camper to Griffin, and he had his shot pinned against the glass, but trailing the play for the layup, Gary Springer.
And that's why you make the trip. Great block by Vasquez Simmons, but good hustle by Springer to get the putback.
Iona off to a quick start. Keep in mind, in their regular season finale last weekend, Iona shot 63% from the floor, and their 4 bigs were outstanding, including Gary Springer, who comes up with another rebound.
Well, they just clearly dominated the paint against Manhattan. How about 72% in the first half, yet trailed in that ball game?
Dexter Gray, one of those terrific players on what was senior day at the Heinz Athletic Center in New Rochelle. And again, Dexter Gray had himself a nice look on that set, and once again a chance for a second opportunity on the offensive glass for Springer.
Now Springer just simply goes over top of everybody. That's a rebound in traffic. He's patient once he comes up with it. Good ball fake to get the defender in the air and draw contact.
Logan's with the hard foul. Another area where Canisius, or rather Iona, has improved tremendously this year at the free throw line. They're the most improved free throw shooting team in the entire country, as a team up to 70%.
Yeah, last year just 57% from the line. One of the reasons why they limped home to just 2 wins. Lost a lot of close games coming down the stretch.
Robert Goldsberry's come into the ball game for Canisius. This is Mr. Goldsberry. Post feed to Rashawn Johnson, also off the bench, a freshman for the Griffs. Turner spins away. Nice catch by Goldsberry. Dropped it off for Sean Johnson. He's hammered on the shot. And the big fella will go to the line to shoot 2. How about the hands on Goldsberry to catch a blind bounce pass that was low along the baseline and have the presence of mind to shovel it off to Johnson.
Now Turner with the bounce pass, comes up with it, sharing the basketball. Good interior passing. Good hands as well by the big guy to come up with the basketball.
Well, that is one of Johnson's earmarks. Good hands, good feet.
Yep. He's got big size, and certainly the offseason will be very important for him. Got to trim down and work on his upper body strength. But if he does that, because of those quick hands and good feet, he's got a chance to be able to score it in the post in this leg.
Well, he has gone for 13 a couple of times this year at Manhattan and then home against St. Peter's. Sean Johnson started 5 games this year. John Kelly into the ball game for Iona, coming off his career high, which also came on senior day for the Gales of 14. And there's the Penn State transfer missing on his first attempt, although you remember last Sunday he missed his first attempt and then hit his next 7.
Yeah, went 7 of 7 after that point.
Jump ball as Griffin and Johnson got tied up. And the possession arrow favors the Gales. Greg Logan's back into the game. Vasquez Simmons out. What do you think about the hairdo on Vasquez Simmons?
No comment.
No?
Reminds you a little bit of Ricky Soliver, who sported the Mohawk a couple of years ago when Iona was able to win in this building. Last time the MAC championships were here in Albany.
Devon Clark missed on the dunk, but the Gales will keep it. Yeah, certainly this building has been good to the Gales in MAC tournament play over the years, having won 3 championships in 1998 and 2000, and then that terrific team in 2006 that you speak of with Ricky Soliver and the other guard, Steve Burt Jr. And they were just a terrific show that always seems to be comfortable here in Albany. Sean Griffin uses the Kelly screen, and then we've got an offensive foul against the Gales. Kelly came barreling down the lane and gets called for the personal. Then he and Coles have a couple of words. Actually, Coles had words for Kelly, who just kept running back up court.
And one of the things that Kevin Willard talked about was when they've got Big John Kelly into the game, they've got to figure out if they can find some decent matchups for him. A little bit like the Kenny George of the MAC, huh? You see highlights yesterday, the 7'7" center from UNC Asheville, just clogging up the paint, and they've got to figure out ways to protect him defensively as well. That's why you'll probably see him fall back into zone most of the time Kelly's on the floor.
Coles fires away for 3. Kelly with a rebound. It was amazing how Asheville's defense, how the zone played to funnel everybody to the paint, and the opponent just dribbled to the paint, turned around and ran back.
Talk about a one-man zone at 7'7", I guess you can be.
John Kelly doesn't have quite that presence for Iona, but certainly of a similar ilk. Bevilacqua off the bounce. Bogdanovic got a piece of it. And there is Rashawn Johnson with a putback and a chance to go back to the line.
And there are those quick feet, good hands to come up with that miss. Forced shot by Bobby Drinks, trying to make a little too much happen. And a little carried away with himself on that pull-up. But Johnson right there to clean it up.
Foul number 2 on Rashawn Dwight. And Johnson to the line. Julius Coles, you see, heading to the bench for the Griffs. Goldsberry's come back into the game. Johnson can't complete the 3-point play. Logans, though, took it away. Kelly with a big block shot from behind.
Well, making his presence felt on the defensive end.
John Kelly's listed at 7 feet 270. Senior out of West Milford, New Jersey. Here's Kyle Camper. JUCO transfer to the Gales, and he draws the foul. A blocking foul called against Canisius.
One of the things with this Iona team, they do not shoot the ball very well from beyond the 3-point line. Dead last in the MAC in 3-point shooting at 31%, and their guards have really, all 3 of them, been in a shooting slump. So you don't have to really get out and guard them on the perimeter. Instead, you've got a clogged driving lane.
Clark misfires. Canisius defensively making it tough on a guy who makes about 60% from the floor. Logan's no. Long rebound Clark, and here comes Iona. The game was tied at 8. Iona had a quick 5-0 burst, and it's a 2-point ball game at this point. Blocking foul against the Griffs on a strong drive by Devon Clark, senior out of Windsor, Connecticut.
As you said, Clark shoots it at nearly 62% from the floor because he gets high percentage shots. Doesn't settle for the 15-footer. Instead gets himself right to the rim. Picks up the contact. And a lot of guys that shoot it so well from the floor, all of a sudden then you see their foul shooting numbers and they drop. Not the case with Clark. He's 81% from the line, so takes advantage. Of course, I jinxed it.
Well, still, it's amazing for anybody to be third in the league in free throw percentage and third in the league in field goal percentage.
Yeah, you do not see that very often. And last game out, he was nearly perfect. You and I had him on Sunday against Manhattan. This just one shot from the floor and was a perfect 6 for 6 for the line.
And he has really had a consistent senior season for the Gales.
So much for improvement from the line. A 2-6 start for the Gales.
No longer number 3 in the league probably after missing a pair. Canisius with a chance to tie or take the lead, but then Johnson has it poked away. Camper, nice look ahead. Springer fouled hard by Goldsberry, and so Springer will have to go back to the line to earn the 2. Springer will be at the line when we come back. Timeout on the floor with 11:42 remaining. First half, Iona 13, Canisius 11. The winner of this one moves on to the MAC quarterfinals tomorrow.
This is Siena, a college that builds competence and character, where you're part of a team, a place of academic rigor that builds leaders, offering opportunity and values that prepare you for change, leadership, and life. The tradition, the community of Siena, educating for success, one student at a time.
If you're westbound on the New York State Thruway in a couple of hours, look out for that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Made the trip in from Buffalo, rooting for his Griffs, and if the Griffs lose, I wouldn't want to be on the road with him. Hey, high school musical fans, come join us at the Citizens Bank MAC Basketball Championships here on Sunday at the Times Union Center, where Drew Seeley, the voice of Troy from High School Musical, will host a day of entertainment. Now, Seeley's going to sing the national anthem before the women's championship. That starts at 11 a.m., and then Seeley will give a mini concert at halftime. We'll also conduct an autograph session during the second half. To buy tickets, call 1-800-30-EVENT or go to MacSports.com for more information. And my partner here, Rob Kennedy, tells me that he has been given specific instructions from home on what he needs to be doing on Sunday.
Don't come home without an autograph, or my daughter's not talking to me.
I know where you are going to be around midday on Sunday.
That's right. Getting ready for the semifinals. I got to get myself an autograph.
Priorities here, Mr. Kennedy. Gary Springer at the line. Quick start to the evening for the junior from Union City, Georgia, fourth-year junior. Again, Springer is a legacy at Iona. His dad of the same name is the third all-time leading scorer in Iona college history. Goldsberry called for his second foul. This is an offensive foul in the backcourt, trying to get through a double team put up by Clark and Griffin. So the turnover gives it back to the Gales.
Gary Springer Sr. was a tremendous player as a freshman, was a freshman All-American, and then was bothered by a knee injury. He was a guy who was one of the top high school players in America. He was a McDonald's All-American when he chose to play for the Iona Gales.
And back in that era, it was not uncommon for Iona to be producing NBA players. Yep. You had Jeff Ruland, you had Steve Burt Sr., and certainly Gary Springer Sr. Looked to be on that path with that tremendous start to his college career.
And Springer and Burt in the same class, and it was Gary Springer who arrived with so much fanfare, and it was at the end of it Stevie Burt that was the better player at the end of his career and the guy that went on to have a career in the NBA.
Steve Burt's still a pretty good ball player.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's in the Rucker League or wherever he wants to go out on the court, Steve Burt Sr. is going to be, if not the best, one of the best players on the floor. 10 seconds on the shot clock, 11:07 to go first half. Bevilacqua has to fire it up. Camper got a hand in his face to make it tough, and with 1 second on the shot clock, Canisius will have to inbound and get off a quick shot. And we don't know if it's a full 1 second or a fraction of a second, so they're going to have to hurry.
Right now you want to run a screen for somebody heading to the rim. Instead, good defensive possession all the way through for Iona. Coming up with another shot clock violation, second that they forced here so far tonight.
And Rob, I would have to say that the scout by Kevin Willard and his staff has been read in terms of how to defend Bevilacqua. They have gotten a hand in every single one of his shots. They've blocked 3 now, I believe. And they have made it very difficult on Bobby Drinks.
They can't allow him to get open looks. Crowd up, force him to put the ball on the floor and get by it. It's amazing story that he's even part of a scouting report.
Let alone on the roster.
Yeah.
There's Bevilacqua. Turner's on the floor. 3 Griffs down there, but Camper, the only one still standing, picked it up. 5 to shoot. The Gales have to let her rip. Griffin is going to be called for steps.
Well, sloppy play both ways. Turnovers last 2 possessions. Neither team able to get any type of rhythm offensively.
The Iona Gales and Canisius Golden Griffins going head-to-head in round 1 of the MAC tournament. The winner of this one will take on Ryder in the quarterfinals tomorrow.
So Iona shows 3/4 court trap and now getting himself back into the zone.
Logan's trying to carve out space on the low post, but going against Springer is no easy task. Springer's got him by a couple of inches. Bevilacqua penetrates off the up fake. This time gets himself an open look, but can't connect him. Milan Pradanovic with the rebound. Camper back to Pradanovic. 20-footer. Back-to-back threes. Pradanovic, who has been struggling the last 2 weeks, seems to be finding that range, Rob.
Well, he's had 3 open looks. That time it was out of transition.
Pradanovic now with 6 points. Sophomore out of Archbishop Malloy. The Golden Griffins from Buffalo in their blue uniforms as the number 10 seed here in the 2008 MAC Championships. You see the Griffs only 1 out of 6 from beyond the arc.
Remember, that was one of our keys in their 5 wins. They've averaged 10 threes per game. To win this ball game, they're going to have to convert from the perimeter.
Turner to Robinson. Nice job again by Pradanovic to close out. Make Robinson vary his shot on the way up.
Well, he's just 1 of 14 so far in the 3 games against Iona from 3. So again, the Gales doing a good job of making sure that they follow the scouting report. Crowd up on the 3-point shooters.
And Robinson is the best option that the Griffs have from beyond the arc. Don't miss any of the excitement this weekend. Get your tickets for the Citizens Bank MAC Basketball Tournament now through Monday here at the Times Union Center in Albany. To buy tickets, call 1-800-30-EVENT or go online to MACsports.com for more information. The Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference in its home away from home here in Albany. The majority of the MAC tournaments since Siena joined the league back in 1989 when this building was built have been here in Albany.
The 13th time that the MAC championships have been here in Albany.
They're working on a new contract. The arena is, at least, to try and secure the tournament only to be here in Albany as opposed to rotating between Trenton and Buffalo and Bridgeport, some of the other cities that they have worked in to the rotation.
Yep, and that rotation next year will be down in Trenton and then back up here in Albany in 2010.
Pavel Malesa, a senior for the Golden Griffins, off the bench into the ball game for the first time. Here's John Kelly. Turns to his left, back to his right. Misfires, goes and gets it. A little strong off the glass. The Gales with repeated chances to score, and now Dexter Gray will go to the line to shoot 2.
Well, Kelly carving out space deep into the paint. Got himself a couple opportunities, just left it short. Nice up and under right there by the big fella. Just did not get enough on it. Stays with it, tried to finish with the left. Good work on the offensive boards by Gray and the entire Iona Bigs in the paint.
And without Thomas Vasquez Simmons on the floor for Canisius, it's pretty much free reign in terms of getting off your shot in the paint. Vasquez Simmons, a terrific shot blocker. But when he's not on the court, if you're 7 feet, you're John Kelly, just turn and shoot.
Absolutely. And Vasquez, a guy who's very bouncy at 6'7", get up and challenge. Second in the league at over 2.5 blocks per game. Good for top 20 in the country. There's the speed of Turner.
Kevin Hassett has come into the game for the first time for Iona as Malesa misfires. Turner with the rebound. Bevilacqua from 20. He's got it.
And how many times on a broken play, whether it's transition or an offensive rebounding kick out, so much harder to worry about the scouting report at that time.
His head coach Tom Parada gave him the nickname Bobby Drinks because the word Bevilacqua in Italian translates to drinking water. So calls him Bobby Drinks, and it has stuck on the Canisius campus. Camper guarded by Hassel. Step back jump shot. A little strong.
Bad shot right there. You got to get a better look than that out of your half-court offense.
Hassel off the up fake. Gets his pocket picked by Gray. Never saw him. Camper shovel pass to Gray. Nice gather. And the foul by Malesa.
Was a nice gather. That was a tough catch on the run.
Iona with a 5-point lead over Canisius here in the first round of the MAC Championships. Back in Albany, where Iona holds a 5-point lead over Canisius in the first round of the MAC Championships. Doug Sherman along with Rob Kennedy. And the Griffs once again tonight getting a boost from their junior walk-on out of Orchard Park, Bob Bevilacqua, with a couple of three-pointers. He's got 6. And Rob, not all walk-ons are the same. Now, he is a non-scholarship, uninvited basically, walk-on, unlike a Jonathan Wallace at Georgetown, who was on his way to Princeton, and when JT3 and his coaching staff went from Princeton to Georgetown, they asked him to come along. And we've seen in this league, Nick Walsh from Manhattan was an invited walk-on. Bob Bevilacqua had none of that. The coaching staff at Canisius had no idea who he was. He did make the team, but under the provision that, kid, you're never going to play. And Tom Parada got so fed up in one game a couple of months ago, he said, kid, get in there, and he hasn't been able to take him out since.
Well, they got hammered at Ryder. Lost by 51 points in that game. And so you're just searching for something. He said now all of a sudden we're watching the tape saying, boy, Bevilacqua, he's playing well, Next time out, he gets a start, and he's started 16 games straight since then.
Pretty much unheard of in this day and age of Division I college basketball.
And we were showing his full body there. You see he's got the white shoes on, where the rest of the team's got the gold shoes. He got himself a jersey. That took a while. They finally got his name on the back, but they still haven't gotten him those gold shoes.
But most importantly, he's still getting the playing time. And he picks up an assist on the Willie Hassel 2-point jumper. Junior out of Portageville, Missouri, with his first points.
Well, these shooting numbers will not be pretty for either team. It's been sloppy going. Neither team able to shoot it. Canisius just 2 of 10 from beyond the 3-point line. Doesn't matter where they're shooting. Even at the foul line, nobody can convert.
Well, during that time when Bevilacqua's minutes have been up, Willie Hassel has been sidelined. Pretty much lost the month of February due to illness and then trying to get back in it. John Kelly inside with the baby jump hook.
Big guy making the most of some playing time opportunities.
Malesa misfires. Rebound Kevin Hassett. And the outlet to Deshaun Griffin.
Malesa's a specialist. He's a 3-point shooter. Make a couple, stay in. Miss a couple, sit down.
Here's Hassett. Nice look, Kelly. Off the up fake. Blocked by Vasquez Simmons. And then Kelly tries to deflect the ball off of Canisius and out of bounds. Instead, it stays inbounds, and the Griffs run the other way.
He's got to convert those. Couple misses too deep in a lane for Kelly.
Frank Turner, nice bounce to his step to get away from Kelly.
Absolutely. That bounce away gave him some separation. At his size, he's got to be able to do that. You've got to have range, quickness, and the ability to be creative once you get yourself into the paint.
So the 5'10 sophomore from Atlantic City, New Jersey, with 4 points. Verdanovich misses. Hassett has the rebound. Go through his fingertips, and then he missed the tougher shot. Canisius back the other way, down by 5. Malesa.
He knows he's coming out. He's going to get it. He's going to get his fair share while he's on there.
Well, we talked in the first game about outgoing seniors and how they react and respond, and Malesa is a guy who can go for big points if he's on. But as you said, he knows that it first couple don't go. Coming back to the bench.
He missed that 3 a couple of possessions ago. Then all of a sudden he saw some guys over at the scorer's table ready to check in. He said, let me see if I make one. Maybe I'll stay in here.
Get your tickets now for the MAC Baseball Championships at Waterfront Park in Trenton, New Jersey. The action on the diamond is May 22nd through the 24th. You can buy tickets by calling 609-394-3300 or by going online to MacSports.com for more information. And in scanning the stands here tonight, Rob, I have seen a couple of New York Mets jerseys. We are in the capital of New York State. Certainly more Yankee fans around here than Mets fans, but with the acquisition of Johan Santana, the Mets fans are fired up about the coming season.
And why not? Absolutely. If all of a sudden Pedro comes back and pitches well, he is a Met fan, I'll be very happy. That'd be a heck of a 1-2 combination with he and Santana.
Just over 5 minutes left first half. Deshaun Griffin at midcourt. Fradanovich, he has found the range.
Yeah, as we said, really struggling coming in. Last 5 games, 1 for 11. Wouldn't know it. All of a sudden, it's amazing. You make a couple and you get your confidence right back. 3 of 4. Fradanovich with 9 points, all from beyond the arc.
And as you pointed out earlier, Rob, these are better looks that he's getting.
Not forcing it. That time it was out of the set play. Nice screen in to get him the open look.
Foles lost it. Camper comes up with it, trying to push tempo. Long, dangerous bounce pass. Taken away, and here comes Turner one-on-one with Camper to beat. And the crafty point guard can't convert. The Griffs, though, will keep possession. Fortunate to do so. After Turner had a terrific move to get the open look. He did the hard part, and missed the easy part.
Nice slide by to get himself to the rim, and just unable to get it to fall.
Julius pulls out.
Tom Parada continuing to run guys in and out.
Foul on the shot will send Canisius to the line to shoot 2.
And it'll also send Gary Springer to the bench as he picks up his second foul.
Bevilacqua announced his arrival on the Canisius team with a big effort in the upset victory over Niagara. He also helped to spark the last good win for Canisius over Albany in the bracket buster game.
They're coming down the stretch, hit big baskets. Able to win at home against Albany 64-60.
Fradanovich off the back cut with a 2-point bucket. Imagine that, he's got 11. Best wins for Canisius this year, the upset of Niagara. They knocked off Fairfield out in Buffalo in early February, and then that win against the UAlbany Great Danes on the 23rd on Bracket Buster Saturday. But again, Canisius has yet to win a road game or a neutral site game this year at only 5-24 overall. But with shots like that, they are hanging around back within 5 of Iona.
Well, you got to get back defensively. That's what Iona wants to do, push the pace. And you see Tom Parada not happy with this team right there, not happy with the effort. That's just a mental breakdown not to get back with your transition defense.
So after the 3 by Elton Frazier on one end, the 2-point trot back the other way allows the easy slam at the other end by Devon Clark. The senior out of Windsor, Connecticut, is on the board with his first 2.
Definition of high percentage shot there. So you make a 3 on a nice play started by Turner getting into the lane for the kick out, but then you give it right back by not getting back.
Well, it's been a terrific story for Devon Clark. Redshirted his freshman year and then played just 2 games the following year.
It's like the officials are going to see whether or not that kick out was a 3 or not. Take a look, Turner into the lane, kicking it out. And yep, there are those gold shoes.
Makes it easier.
Makes it easy, you know?
You're right.
Trying to help him out. It's like a highlighter. The toes well beyond. Take one more look. Yep. No matter how many times we run it or whatever angle, he's well beyond the 3.
Wasn't it Charlie Finley, the old-time owner of the Oakland A's, who had the idea of
the
having
yellow ball,
yellow baseballs that you might be able to see better? Actually, these Canisius uniforms have that Charlie O flair from the 70s with the bright gold with the shoes. I just got to have the guys grow mustaches to be like the swinging A's. Well, if they were looking at more than 2 or 3 points, hard to figure, though, why they'd still be standing, because it seemed pretty clear that it was a 3-point shot all the way.
I think they were having trouble with that monitor, so they'll see it here. Just need to look over to you and I. We could have signaled the 3.
Raise your arms.
Yep, it's there.
And now they've got the call, so keep that point on the board for Canisius.
Veteran crew. Brian O'Connell right there, along with John Kell. And you see, he said, yep, that one was easy. Foot or so behind. Kevin Willard Askin. But by Askin also got a little mini timeout right there to talk to his team.
Actually, Coach Willard should have had the closest view.
Yep.
The shot was right in front of him.
3 of 13, so Canisius not bashful putting them up, but they have not converted.
Elton Frazier calls for the charge. So we see the good and the bad of Elton Frazier in a very short period of time.
No place to go.
He picks up the charge, and that takes us to break. Canisius down 7-2 Iona in the MAC tournament opening round.
At St. Peter's College, success is a team effort. St. Peter's College, education one student at a time.
Iona with a 7-point lead late first half here in Albany, and the difference so far has been the shooting of Milan Pradanovic for the Gales.
As we said, was struggling coming in. Last 5 games, he had a total of 11 points. He's already got that total here in the first half, including knocking down 3 of 4 from beyond the 3-point line. But look at the separation on all those threes, Doug. He's had plenty of separation between he and the defense, getting good open looks from 3. And all of a sudden, it's amazing. You make one, your confidence gets up, and you get yourself on a bit of a roll.
He's a young man from Queens who has trained with the Serbia-Montenegro under-18 national team. Really worked on his outside shot over the summer. Paid dividends early, and maybe he's getting back into shape here in the postseason.
And out of the timeout, Canisius goes zone.
Sean Griffin off the mark with the 3. Long rebound to Dexter Gray, so the Gales reset with 3 minutes left here in the first half.
And Iona's been seeing a lot more zone because of their struggles from the perimeter, from their 3 guards. Camper and Dwight have been in shooting slumps, along with Pradanovic coming into the game.
Nice entry pass to Clark, who misfires too strong off the glass.
A lot of contact, no call.
Bevilacqua hands off to Turner. Canisius down 7, looking to pull the upset. The Golden Griffins, the number 10 seed here this weekend. Iona, the number 7 seed. Logan's was open underneath. Bevilacqua was open outside. He misfired, and then Logan's couldn't corral the offensive rebound, and the Gales get it back. Well, it's been very quiet for Greg Logans, the freshman for Canisius, with just 2 points. Coming up at halftime, we'll talk about and show you the MAC Men's Player of the Year. We'll also update the 2008 tournament and have our first half highlights and statistics from here in Albany.
So Canisius stays zone, and why not? Iona didn't get a good look last time. Turnover this time against the zone.
Camper's pass, a little out of the reach of Clark. 2 minutes left in the half. Logans again with another 3-point try that's off the mark.
And again, because it's too many times floating around out at the perimeter, got to take his man inside where he can take advantage of his size and strength.
Sean Griffin very nearly stepped on the midcourt stripe. I don't think he realized how close he was to center court. Clark, no. Gray over top of Turner. And then a block shot for Vasquez Simmons.
Well, that kind of sums up how things have gone here in this first half. It has not been a pretty one as far as offensive execution is concerned.
4th block shot tonight for Vasquez Simmons, who has gone for as many as 8 in a game early this season against Navy. Speaking of Navy, how about their game the other night? The way that finished out.
Tough one. 40-footer at the end of the second overtime as John Griffin was able to bank one in as Navy, after a terrific regular season, gets knocked off in the first round of the Patriot League on their home floor.
And Bucknell advances. That's what we're talking about. All of these mid-major tournaments just survive and advance. Clark, quick first step to get around Logans and earn the trip to the line.
That's his strength in the post. His quickness to get by other bigs. That time, quick spin to get himself deep into the lane. You don't shoot 62% from the floor without getting yourself to the rim a ton. He sits in, does a good job. He's got good hands and passes it out of the double and then reposts. And so many times when you repost, by the time the double comes, that time a little ball fake to get Turner heading back out onto the perimeter. Allowed him the open lane to spin in the lane.
Logan's called for his second foul.
Kanish has been stuck on 23 for a while. The Griffs have not been able to get anything going here last few minutes offensively.
Canisius led early tonight, 2-0, 4-2. Game was last tied at 8 apiece. Iona has led since. Vasquez Simmons finally does get it into Turner. This is the largest lead of the night at 9, 32-23.
And on made foul shots, you've seen Iona show the full court pressure defense and then settle back in to the 2-3 zone.
Johnson, nice kick out. Bevilacqua for three, and when he has space, he can knock that down.
And you get space because you play inside out. That's the easiest three-point shot in basketball. Kick out, step up, toe to line. Bevilacqua matching Pradanovic. Both guys have 11.
Again, Bevilacqua's career high 16 came in Baltimore late February at Loyola. He's got 11, as you saw, already here in the first half. Under 5 seconds to go in the half. Camper left alone. Frazier missed the defensive assignment, and Camper made him pay.
Camper shoots it at under 30% from beyond three on the season. So sometimes he's going to find himself open, but took full advantage.
As the Gales head to the locker room, they have a 9-point lead, 35-26. We'll be right back with the MAC halftime report here in Albany, New York at the Times Union Center after this.
In the first half, and Iona on fire at 33%.
Well, very quietly, Kyle Camper has himself a decent stat line. 5 points, 4 assists, 3 steals in 16 minutes at the point for Iona. This is Camper with another assist. Nice feed to Gray, who lays it in.
Stuffing that stat sheet. When he does that and doesn't force offense and force shots, that's when this Iona team is much better. That's when he's much better running the point.
And Iona with its largest lead now at 11, 37-26.
You see Turner with just 4 points. I'm not so sure the Canisius can win this ball game without Frank Turner stepping it up on the offensive end.
Turner is Canisius' top scorer on the year at 12.7 points per game. And he has just the 4, as you saw here tonight. Turner and Bevilacqua start in the backcourt, along with Frazier, Logans, and Vasquez Simmons. Here's Turner along the baseline, and he's pushed out of bounds by Springer, who picks up his third foul.
Springer late getting there to get his foot on the baseline, take away the baseline out of the zone.
Sean Dwight, Dexter Gray, Milan Pradanovic, Kyle Camper, and Gary Springer starting the second half for the Gales. And at the moment, at least, Gary Springer Jr. stays on the floor with those 3 fouls. Turner turns the corner, drops it off. Vasquez Simmons for 2. Easy as that.
Yeah, first possession of the game, it was easy as he got himself all the way into the lane for a layup. That time he got himself into the lane, draws the defense, kicks it off.
Now, Vasquez Simmons is a youngster with a terrific upside. He's only 18 years old, a young 18. A physics major, smart kid out of Rochester. And as you said in the first half, Rob, in the top 20 in the country in block shots, a terrific athlete. Good ball movement. Dwight had a wide open look. Springer with the rebound out to Pradanovic. Still has the hot hand.
Now, how many times? Broken play, offensive rebound. Go track it down and kick it out to the open three-point shooter. Bogdanovich with his 4th 3 of the game.
And again, he had just 11 points total over the last 5 Iona games. He's got the 14 so far tonight. Bogdanovich tied up by Turner.
Well, if you're a good three-point shooter, if you get open looks like this, great hustle by Gary Springer to go chase it down, and then can't get a better look than that. Stepping right into it. So many times broken play and kickouts get you those open looks from 3.
Inbound pass. Draws the foul. Rashawn Johnson picks up a personal against Clark.
Baseline out of bounds. He got caught on the screen. Ended up trailing the play. Tried to come up with the block from behind. So Johnson using his girth down low to try and keep the defender on his backside and pick up the foul.
He can keep a couple of defenders on that backside. Johnson gets himself to the free throw line frequently, although he's only a 57% foul shooter at the stripe.
Tom Parada calling out the changing defenses here. Made foul shot, look for him to pick up in full court pressure, and they get up. See if they can't create some offense with their defense.
At the head of the defense is Frazier, long and quick. And he gets a piece of that pass. Iona still with possession.
Frazier's a terrific athlete. When he learns how to use his athleticism at this level, he's going to be a very good player.
Well, he is a young man who grew up in Syracuse as a Mac fan and a Canisius fan. He is related to Hadari Mallory. There's Bevilacqua with the 3. Actually, Frazier, 3 years ago, when Mallory had the big game-winning shot, was the big hero for Canisius down in Trenton at the MAC tournament. Frazier was in attendance, watching his cousin do his thing, trying to create some of his own magic here in Albany this weekend.
Probably Bevilacqua again getting a good opportunity as Canisius able to get some penetration into the lane, draw the defense, knocks down the 3, and then with his defense forces the 6th Iona turnover.
Bevilacqua with the 14 points, 2 off his career high. Turner's pass deflected by Bogdanovich, and then Turner picks up the foul.
Turner got himself too deep in the lane, left his feet, and you see the tackle. To get yourself into the lane, that doesn't, especially if you're a smaller guard, you've got to keep both feet on the lane, give yourself some options. As soon as you leave your feet, you put yourself and your team in trouble.
Bogdanovich doesn't get the bounce.
But that wasn't an open look. That time, a bit of a force as Turner was hanging on.
Bevilacqua, the entry pass to Johnson, back outside. The 3 is off the mark by Vasquez Simmons. Bogdanovich, quick up ahead, Dexter Gray. He's surrounded by blue jerseys, and so he picks up the dribble.
A smart play. Get it out, run some offense.
16-15 remaining second half. Iona's lead is 7.
And here, if you're Iona, you got to get a touch into paint. They've gone away from their big.
Camper pull up from the elbow. Clark, nice job to get the rebound away from Johnson. It goes out of bounds, and Iona will keep it.
Well, if your guards won't give you the ball in the post, go get it on the offensive board.
A lot of times that's your best and only option. There goes Frazier out of the ball game. A lot of traffic on the low post. Hassel gets the rebound, but he couldn't save it. His foot was on the baseline. And so the Iona Gales will have the basketball when we come back to the Times-Union Center in Albany, New York. The Golden Griffins down by 7 in this MAC first round game.
On the shores of the Hudson River and on the forefront of technology is where you'll find Marist College. For more than 60 years, Marist professors, students, and alumni have been making an impact beyond the classroom, shaping the future and respecting the past. Through our partnerships, internships, and initiatives with some of the nation's leading companies, Marist College prepares students for a full and successful life filled with opportunity. And it all begins here at Marist College.
with a spot in the MAC quarterfinals on the line. And hey, High School Musical fans, come join us here at the Citizens Bank MAC Basketball Championships this Sunday at the TU Center in Albany, where Drew Seeley, the voice of Troy from High School Musical, will host a day of entertainment. Seeley will sing the national anthem before the women's championship game, which will start at 11 a.m., and then he'll give a mini concert at halftime. He'll also conduct an autograph session during the second half, and you can buy tickets by giving him a call, 1-800-30-EVENT, or go to MacSports.com for more information. Doug Sherman, Rob Kennedy with you here at the Times Union Center, and Dexter Gray off the baseline out of bounds with an easy finish.
And great execution coming out of the timeout, and then they force the turnover with the pressure.
So 11 points now for Gray off the slam. And Iona continues to impose its will on Canisius. And a quick timeout. We'll take a break and come back right after this to the Times Union Center. Plenty of reason to smile if your 2008 MAC Player of the Year, Jason Thompson, in attendance here tonight, checking out the teams that he will be facing tomorrow in the MAC quarterfinals. The winner of this one will take on Rider tomorrow night. And so Mr. Thompson is getting a little scouting report.
Well, does a little bit of everything, huh? Not just scoring over 20 a game and nearly 12 rebounds, but a little scouting effort by Jason as well.
He was named the MAC Player of the Year late yesterday afternoon here at the Times Union Center. Griffin with a bad pass. Bevilacqua trying to race to the basket 1-on-3. Had his pocket picked by Griffin. Block shot by Johnson. And the ball goes out of bounds back to Iona. Well, he's being projected, Jason Thompson, as a first-round draft pick in this year's NBA draft. If that happens, he'll be the first since Randy Woods of LaSalle back in '92 to be a MAC player to go that high. Rob, do you think that is a likelihood?
Well, certainly he's played himself. You know, prior to this season, most mock drafts had him in the middle of the second round, and he has clearly played himself to either the end of the first round or maybe at the beginning of the second round. But certainly with his play coming down the stretch, he continues to move up the draft board. His length, his athleticism, he's got great size for his position at the next level, which is really one of the hard things at this level, to get a guy that's got size for his position at the NBA level.
He can handle the ball, he can shoot the ball, he rebounds very, very well, not afraid to mix it up. Big shot blocking presence.
And he's a guy that's gotten better each and every year. When he was a freshman, he was a guy that got all of his points on garbage, just outrunning people. He was like a gangly colt out on the floor, getting tips, and now he's become a much more polished offensive player, and I think he's going to continue to improve.
Well, at this point, what would you say he still needs to work the most on, Rob?
Well, continue to work on his perimeter skills. He's going to have to play away from the basket at the NBA level because he doesn't have the size and strength to go bang with some of those guys in the post. But as he continues to refine his offensive game away from the basket, he's got a chance to not only make the NBA, but also be a guy that can hang around for a long time.
And what you didn't see off camera is that Jason is sitting next to three of his teammates who were giving him the business when he saw himself up on the Jumbotron here at the Times Union Center.
Remember, one of his teammates is his brother, so, you know, a lot of ribbon going on with the Rider team. Two sets of brothers, not only the Thompson, but the Mansell brothers.
And let's take a look at some of the Jason Thompson numbers and why he won Player of the Year.
Well, last year he was one of only 3 players in the country to average over 20 points and over 10 rebounds, and he's doing that once again this year. Terrific all-around play, and again, he's a guy that continues to get beat up in the post every time he touches the ball and continues to draw double and triple teams. One of the reasons why Tommy Dempsey's taken him out of the post, and he's played a lot more on the perimeter. Harder for that double team to run out at him when he's 15 feet out.
Well, the other two guys last year to go 20 and 10 every game were both drafted in the NBA. Yep. Kevin Durant, number 2 overall, and Nick Fazekas. So that certainly bodes well. And Michael Beasley is a guy who's doing the exact same thing this year as a freshman at Kansas State. They went head-to-head earlier this year, and Thompson more than held his own in that matchup.
Well, that was the key thing for NBA scouts as well. as he played in the summer at the LeBron James camp, and really when he first started to turn some heads. A couple of the NBA guys that have been following him for the last couple of years. The other interesting thing is they've had NBA scouts at every one of Ryder's games. I mean, all of a sudden, most of the NBA guys know how to get to the Bronx Zoo in Lawrenceville. And when they've come, they've all kind of walked away saying, you know, that Ryan, his brother, he's kind of interesting. So I think there's an opportunity, potentially, if he continues to improve the same way that he improved between his freshman and sophomore year, talking about Ryan, that they're going to be heading back there in a couple of years to check out little brother.
Well, both Thompson boys have made quantum leaps from freshman to sophomore year, and like you say, if Ryan can continue to improve, and who knows, he might have another inch or two of growth. Keep in mind, Ryan has grown 3 inches since he got to Rider University, so if Jason has another inch or two in him, gets to be 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", and there is younger brother Ryan on the right, Jason on the left. Who knows? They both have guard-type skills. They were smaller in high school, so they played guard, and then as they've grown, they have kept some of those guard skills. Now they can give each other the business for seeing themselves on the Jumbotron.
Guess Matt Griffin's a Phillies fan, huh?
Yeah, you think?
The hat, the shirt. Canisius, they've crept themselves back into this ball game. Only down by 7. Can't leave opportunities at the foul line.
This is Rashawn Johnson, a 6'6" freshman, getting 1 out of 2. He's up to 8 points on the night. And as you say, the lead is down to 6 as Goldsberry checks back in.
And I would suspect that those Rider players may be rooting for Canisius. They swept Canisius during the regular season, including doubling them up 102-51 in the biggest margin in MAC conference history. So that's the one side. On the other side, they struggled in both their games against Iona. So they might be pulling for Canisius.
Logans picks up his 3rd personal foul, or rather Kelly, the other 0-0, with his 3rd personal foul. Vasquez Simmons in and Logan's out. I had it right the first time.
Yep.
Logan's with his 3rd. And so there you see he heads to the bench. And that has been one of the big stories here tonight. With only 3 points. Again, he had 23 points in the regular season finale for Canisius. Tough shot for Camper. We talked about how well he played under control in the first half, but that was not a good shot.
As they say, sometimes there's a reason why you're wide open.
Up and around Kelly goes Rashawn Johnson. And a timeout called by Iona.
Well, Johnson's given him a good lift off the bench. He's been able to carve out some space inside. There's this nice pass by Goldsberry. Nice bounce pass to get it in. And as we've said a couple of times with Johnson, he's got good hands and quick feet. Able to get the score, and Iona forced to call timeout as the lead has dwindled down to 4.
Sean Johnson into double figures. Pretty nice spark off the bench for Tom Parada's Golden Griffins. Don't miss out on the excitement. Get your tickets today for the Citizens Bank MAC Basketball Championships now through Monday at the Times Union Center in Albany. To buy tickets, call 1-800-30-EVENT or go to MacSports.com for more information. Camper, Gray, Griffin, Pradanovich, and Springer on the floor for Iona. And the full court pressure by Canisius forces another turnover.
No, not what you want to see if you're Iona coming out of the timeout. Canisius gave them a little bit of a different look, although they've shown some full court pressure at times in and out throughout the game. Just a mistake right there by your senior point guard in Camper.
And this is the closest Canisius has been since late in the first half, Rob. They have been hanging around and hanging around.
That's the last thing you want to do if you're a favored team, is allow a team below you to hang around. All of a sudden, they start getting some confidence.
Goldsberry left all by himself, and he makes him pay, hitting the 15-foot shot.
Got it right into the high post area, soft spot of the zone defense. Movement without the basketball, and got himself right in to the right spot.
Goldsberry with his first points, the freshman out of Troy, Ohio.
Guy that averages less than 1 point per game on the season. They've gotten a lift off their bench as Canisius, especially here in this second half.
Nice feed to Springer, and a chance for a three-point play to foul against Johnson.
And that's where they got to go. Pound it in, take advantage of their big advantage inside.
We'll take a break as we see the basket and one by Gary Springer Jr., who will be at the line trying to complete a three-point play when we come back to Albany.
What does it take to be a leader? A strong foundation to understand the challenges of our world. The vision to inspire others. The desire to make a difference. Jesuit education at Loyola. Preparing tomorrow's leaders today.
Canisius has gotten themselves right back into the ball game here in Albany, trailing by 4. Take inside the play and take a look at attacking the zone. Right here, this is always a soft spot in the 2-3 zone as we let it play. And you're going to see Goldsberry doing a good job moving without the basketball. One of the keys is get overloads. Freeze it right here. See right here as he gets himself into this area. Now all of a sudden it forces guys to make a decision who you're going to guard. Let it play from there. Even though nothing happens here, you see the two guys out on the front, Perdonovich as well as Griffin doing a good job, and bang, he's right, freeze it right there. Right back into the middle again, the soft spot. Why is it soft? Because Perdonovich right here, he was worrying about Turner. All of a sudden he cheats to the outside. Goldsberry's wide open in the soft spot of that zone, able to get himself a good look.
Well, Rob, there is a weak spot in every zone. You've just got to find it, right?
Yep. Much like football, all of a sudden, if you're not set up straight man-to-man, where's going to be that soft spot? Many times it's at the high post. There's Goldsberry trying to hide in that high post once again.
And as you mentioned, Goldsberry on the year averages less than 1 point per game. So defensively, if you're Iona, he's not the guy you're looking for. Turner, no, but the tip in good by Johnson.
Now Johnson giving him a big lift off the bench.
He's now got 12, one off of his career high. And it's down to a three-point ball game.
So Canisius' bench is helping them. Certainly Iona's bench has not chipped in and helped the Gales out.
Dexter Gray blocked from behind, but we've got a foul called. Vasquez Simmons and Johnson had him bottled up pretty well, but the personal goes against Vasquez Simmons.
Looked like that may have been a bit of a bailout. Take a look on the replay. Officials said hands were not straight up. Well, it's not as bad as the block against Stanford last night at the end of the UCLA-Stanford game. Talk about a tough way to not only lose a ball game, but also lose an opportunity at a Pac-10 championship.
And you knew at that point when it went to overtime, that was it.
And what happens every time there's a clean block up top? What's the official do? Body down low.
Yeah,
bodied him down low.
Yeah, showed the hip. He immediately started showing the hip last night. Yeah, it was a rough call.
Oops.
And then Collison, of course, hits the 2 free throws, and then it's history.
Iona trying to extend the floor off the made foul shot. Gray starting to get things done inside. 12 points, a lot of it from the foul line because he's gotten good post-up position.
By the way, that's a Stanford team that lost in this very building earlier this year to Siena, at the time ranked 20th. And that's a Siena team we will see tomorrow afternoon at 4:30 in the quarterfinals.
That was a game in which Brooke Lopez was not playing, and boy, did he play last night.
Wow.
He had the better of it going up against Kevin Love. Talk about a terrific post matchup.
Canisius down 4, back into their money man here in the second half, but Rashawn Johnson couldn't get that one to fall.
And just for you to say that is saying something. Johnson averages under 4 points per game, but he has been their go-to guy. It's one of the things with this Canisius team, as young as they have been. Different guys have been up and down all season long. They've used 10 different starting lineups, just at times searching for something.
Gales turn it over, back to the Griffs.
Well, there's the carry. That was an easy one. Dexter Gray put it in his hip pocket as he tried to come down the lane.
Turner, who has still scored just 4 points, feeds the post. Skip pass to the right wing with a shot clock down under 15. Hassel with the pull-up. Nothing but net.
If you're able to get into gaps against the zone, that's the other way to break it down. Put the ball to the floor and get into gaps to force 2 to guard 1.
Back down to a 2-point ball game. Iona clinging to a 46-44 lead. Clark had a clear out, but never thought about going after Johnson. Kicks it back out.
And Iona's gotten a little stagnant on the offensive end.
Griffin off a nice fake, left alone, and he knocks down the mid-range shot.
Now Griffin's the one guard that's been shooting the ball well over the last couple of games.
But the sophomore from Fayetteville, North Carolina, has just his first points here tonight. Rashawn Johnson with a new career high.
Demanding the basketball in the post.
14 for the freshman from White Plains.
Hey, you got a guy that's getting hot, ride him. Johnson's been able to carve space. Post defenders, Iona got to start making that a little bit more difficult. Too easy for Johnson.
Dexter Gray. A couple of wasted dribbles and has to kick it out to Griffin.
Yeah, good point. Wasted it, just bounced it instead of going someplace with the dribble.
5 to shoot. Bogdanovich gonna have to put it up. Instead, he gets his pocket picked by Frank Turner. Turner, one-on-one. Count the basket in one. We're tied at 48, and the Griffs can take the lead.
How about that? Turner turning on the afterburners out in the open floor. Here's where his speed, but again, stagnant offense for Iona. Where are you going? Nothing happening, and then all of a sudden, if you're the guy defending him in the open floor, you're not on an island unto yourself as Turner comes at you with a head of steam.
Coach Parada's club really starting to believe with a little over 8 minutes left in regulation.
Well, we said it earlier. Anytime you allow an underdog to hang around, all of a sudden their confidence builds. Turner stepping up, and nice play right there. His first points of the second half. And a guy whose confidence is sky high is obviously Rashawn Johnson, who's taken things over in the paint here in the second half for the Griffs.
And this is Canisius' first lead since a minute into the game. Goes away just as quickly on the layup by Clark.
And how about the terrific bounce pass in the lane by Griffin? He's had a couple of big plays. Nice little jump shot in the lane, and that time with a terrific assist. Clark gets called for the block as he hedged hard on that high ball screen.
7:33 left in regulation. Clark and the favored Gales getting all they can handle from the number 10 seed here at the 2008 MAC tournament. Frank Turner and the Griffs trying to pull off the upset. Albany, Iona clinging to a 1-point lead late second half in this first round affair of the MAC tournament. And it's time for our Pepsi Slam of the game for the Gales. Devon Clark off the nice feed, throwing it down. Indeed, that's our Pepsi Slam of the game.
As we said, Clark's a guy that gets high percentage shots, but not so tonight. Just 2 of 7 from the field. Here's that high hedge by Clark as he looked like he was in good position defensively, but instead picks up the block. That'll send Turner to the foul line.
And Frank Turner, a 64% foul shooter. Well, for Canisius, this is the 9th time in 10 years the Griffs have had to play a first-round game in the MAC tournament. That's the bad news. The good news is they're pretty good in those games. 6-2 in those 8 previous games, and certainly giving Iona all it can handle here tonight.
Now, certainly Canisius has been struggling as of late, as those 9 times in the first-round games over the last 10 years shows it. Haven't had a winning season in the MAC since back in '99.
7:25 remaining in regulation. Canisius looking for its first non-home win all season.
And here's where Iona's got to be looking inside. Can't be worried about the perimeter. They got to get a touch inside.
Clark double teamed by Hassel. Cross court Camper.
Oh, Springer was wide open. They missed him.
Now they found him, but had it stripped away by Turner.
You got to find him the first time because that's a dunk.
Pulling the trigger and misfiring. Willie Hassel, the putback no, the tip again. Vasquez Simmons had it for a moment, but here comes Deshaun Griffin for Iona. Off the bounce, off the window and in.
Off the bounce, off the defender as well. Some contact, able to throw it against the glass, get it to go.
Couple of big buckets here in the last couple of minutes by Deshaun Griffin.
And that's the key. When you feel contact, put it against the glass. Both teams shooting the ball much better here in the second half.
Now the only guys in the first half who were shooting well, Pradanovic and Bevilacqua, who both had 11 at the break, have both had just one three-point shot apiece here in the second half. Other guys, though, picked up. Hassel gets the roll.
Well, the big story has been the bench. It's been the bench of Canisius that has stepped up and given them point production. Not much happening off the bench for the Gales.
Well, off the bench for Canisius, Hassel's got 6, and Rashawn Johnson a career-high 14. And yet another takeaway by Frank Turner, and yet another chance to go to the line to take the lead.
Turner with the quickness, quick hands to come up with the steal, and then out racing everybody up the floor. Might have been better off if he dumped this off to Hassel. See right here, as Griffin commits to him, but at least he'll get the opportunity to go get it from the line. There's his quickness to close down. Good anticipation to get in the lane. Going hard, right into the hard foul.
Frank Turner is the first sophomore to be sole captain of the Canisius basketball team since Joe Nyland back in 1939-1940. Incredible. And he's been getting good bench support tonight from his teammates as he ties the ball game at 52 apiece. Pradanovic off to Griffin. Springer sets a screen. Griffin goes the other way and gives to Pradanovic, who's got Turner all over him.
And Clark wide open in the post again. Post defenders on your back. Get those guys touches inside like that.
Nice feed by Camper to find Clark, who will head to the line to shoot 2.
If they're going to play behind those guys, you got to get them the ball.
Sorry about that, Rob. Get your tickets now for the MAC Baseball Championship. It'll be May 22nd through the 24th in Trenton at Waterfront Park. To buy tickets, call 609-394-3300 or go online to macsports.com for more information. We are here at the MAC Basketball Championships in Albany. The quarterfinals tomorrow, the semifinals Sunday night, and then Monday night, 7 o'clock, the championship game that'll be carried on ESPN2. But every game between now and then produced here by the MAC Television Network. Check your local listings. Clark 1 out of 2. Canisius with the ball down 1.
Foul shooting has already been a factor, and you got to figure here in a close game it'll be a bigger factor coming down the stretch.
Tough pass to handle from Turner to Johnson. Camper goes at the big guy, and Johnson fouls him, so Kyle Camper, again only a 57% foul shooter, will shoot 2.
And that all starts with the good solid ball screen. Get good contact on that, rub the defender into it. The next thing you know, Camper's all the way deep into the lane. Good solid screen by Springer, and then as he rolls, it pins Bobby Bevilacqua. Not able to track Camper down.
Johnson with his 4th foul. Did a nice job to make sure Camper didn't get the shot off. Got his money's worth. And so Johnson and Bevilacqua head to the bench. Goldsberry's back in, as is Logans. Springer on the offensive glass. Can't get the putback to fall, and Logans had it for a moment. And he does get it to Hassel. Big possession with under 5 minutes to go. quick
Not
three.
the shot you need. Wow.
Air ball, but there's Goldsberry with a huge play to get that loose ball.
Absolutely huge, and now Turner gets himself pinned, pick up his dribble, and the only thing he can do is call timeout to save the possession.
But Willie Hassel with a poor decision.
Wow, some missed opportunities on both ends. Iona. Springer coming up with the missed foul shot. The Gales continue to kick it around from the foul line. And on the other end, a quick bad shot, bad decision by Willie Hassel here on the break. Not the shot that you need right there.
And actually, as we saw in the replay, it was a 2. So not only was it a bad shot decision-wise in terms of time and score, but to take a shot with your foot on the three-point line is the worst shot in basketball.
Bad all the way around, but smart play by Turner. Late in the game here, you got your team down by 2, under 5 minutes. Take the time out there instead of getting a turnover.
So Goldsberry, who had the heads up to grab that air ball and keep possession for the Griffs with the inbound.
They lost Turner. How in the world do you lose their leading scorer? He was wide open. That even took a while for the inbounder to find him.
Turner now with 10, and we're tied again at 54 apiece.
Well, Iona's allowed Canisius to get back in it, and they've got themselves a ball game here.
Clark. Blocked by Vasquez. Simmons, block number 5 for the young freshman.
And Clark has struggled all 3 games against Canisius.
Well, if indeed that's been the matchup, I can see why Vasquez Simmons would give you trouble getting off shots you typically are able to get off.
Yep, his length, and what happens with Clark, he's usually quicker than other bigs, and Vasquez has the ability to stay with him.
Shot clock at 10. Hassel gives to Turner. A little bit of space in the lane with the pull-up. Can't get the roll. Springer the rebound.
But you got to like the way he kept both feet on the floor. Jump stop, doesn't get out of control. Gave himself a chance to score.
3:40 left in regulation. Again, Goldsberry making things happen. Knocks it out of bounds. Iona will keep possession when we come back. But Goldsberry and the Golden Griffins are sensing upset. We're tied at 54 here in Albany.
Fairfield University is among the nation's top-ranked Jesuit universities and a valuable resource to the region, graduating students who are well prepared to make meaningful and lasting contributions to the greater community. Students of all ages choose Fairfield University for its convenient location, flexible schedules, and its dynamic learning environment anchored in the time-honored values of a Jesuit education. Discover the treasure that is Fairfield University.
What are you looking for in a college? Cutting-edge academic programs, a faculty that's second to none, great recreational opportunities and residence halls? How about a college that will provide you with the education you need to become a leader in your profession and in your community? If that's what you're looking for in a college, you'll find it at Canisius. To learn more about Canisius College, call 1-800-843-1517 or visit us on the web at canisius.edu. Canisius College, where leaders are made.
In their 2 regular season meetings, Iona swept Canisius, but they didn't plan on Goldsberry here tonight. Robert Goldsberry, the freshman, little-used guard from Troy, Ohio, making big contributions here down the stretch.
He's gotten double-digit minutes because of his play. Nice finish right there, deep into the lane by Camper. When he turns the corner and gets himself that deep into the lane, he's got the upper body strength to finish against just about every guard in this league.
56-54, Iona back on top. The Gales led by 9 at halftime.
There's this 2-3 zone again. Goldsberry trying to hide out at the high post. Remember, high post and short corner, 2 of the soft spots against this zone.
Logan's to the left hand, and he reties the ball game.
Now, what's he do? He gets himself into the post. Nice bounce pass inside. By doing that, you force him to just guard you man-to-man in the post.
Well, he has reached double figures each of the last 5 games in the regular season, and until this moment, we haven't seen much positive from Logan's, but he's playing big on the last 2 possessions.
And another turnover by Iona. They took care of the basketball in the first half. Gales had just 5 turnovers in the first 20 minutes. They've got 10 already here in the second half. Got away with the travel right there. Extra step by Logans, and able to finish with the jump hook.
And the big southpaw once again gives Canisius the lead at 58-56.
Canisius won 5 ball games during this year. Only one of them has been a close ball game. The last win that they had against Albany in the bracket buster. Springer once again gets himself deep into the lane. We said a few minutes ago that foul shooting would be a big key coming down the stretch. Kevin Willard's team has left a few opportunities 15 feet away.
Now Logans, who has just picked up his 4th personal foul at the offensive end with back-to-back buckets. And Canisius on top.
Good look there. You saw the extra step there. Got away with the walk, able to finish it. Here's this nice bounce pass from Turner again against the zone. Gets himself deep and just one-on-one going right at Springer.
Now Frank Turner has been a big part of the comeback here in the second half, along with Rashawn Johnson.
Springer, as soon as he shot that, he's backing off the line. You got to stay and finish it.
Goldsberry, Hassel, and Turner on the floor in the backcourt. A very small trio for Canisius, but it has been effective over the last few minutes.
And the Gales stay in the 2-3 zone and now just basically match straight man out of it.
Turner listed at 5'10", in with the big boys, and he gets it to go.
Now you got to guard him off the dribble. Dribble penetration when Turner turns the corner and gets into the lane. That's when good things happen for the Griffs.
Now Turner at 5'10", 165. Hassel 5'8", 185, and Goldsberry 6', 175. But Turner shows you here you don't have to be big to score in the paint.
Now a good quick spin, and by the time the defense comes over to challenge Springer, one of the top shot blockers in the league, the ball's already out of Turner's hands. You got to be creative at his size to be able to score in the paint. Creative on that spin.
Well, we have reached the midnight hour as we head into early Saturday morning. Glad you could be with us here for day number 1 of the MAC men's tournament. Canisius trying to pull the first upset of our tournament here in Albany. On top by 3 with $1:25 remaining.
We'll see our reset. Both teams with 2 timeouts. Possession arrow favoring Canisius. And neither team yet in a double bonus. That could be a factor, especially the way Iona shot the ball from the foul line. Well, let's see, coming out of the timeout, Tom Parada, after the score, took the timeout. You got to figure he's taking it to set up their defense, try and help coach this young team coming down possession by possession, but it also allows Iona to set things up offensively. Try and dictate where they're going to put the basketball.
Gray, Fradanovich, Springer, Camper, and Griffin come out of the Iona huddle and onto the floor. Vasquez, Simmons, Johnson, Turner, Hassel, and Goldsberry for the Golden Griffins in their blue uniforms because they are the number 10 seed here in the MAC tournament.
Now the Gales up, expecting the full court pressure, and they get it. Gray gives them an outlet, and here they'll set for their half court offense.
Camper guarded by Turner. Fradanovich had 11 points in the first half, just 3 here in the second half.
And Goldsberry getting the majority of the minutes as Bobby Drinks has been on the bench.
Camper hits the mid-range shot to pull it back to within 1.
And he's gotten that mid-range shot, turning the corner just like Frank Turner, getting himself deep into the lane.
With a 1-point lead, Canisius working for a good shot, taking their time. 45 seconds left in regulation.
And Gales again in the 2-3 zone, but we saw them get out of it middle of the possession and go play straight man.
Frank Turner with 10 to shoot, guarded by Fradanovich.
There's the high ball screen.
Left his feet, lucky to find Goldsberry. No look to Vasquez Simmons, who lays it in.
Well, as we said, Goldsberry's the guy that's been getting the minutes. Certainly Tom Parada playing a hunch, and Goldsberry, a guy who has stepped up with some big plays here in this second half. An unsuspecting hero for Canisius. None better than this play coming up. Late in the shot clock, most guys would force this. Turner forced it. He left the floor, got himself in trouble. Shows the ball. Terrific bounce pass. Nice finish as well as the defense rotated over against Vasquez Simmons.
Robert Goldsberry, you would never know he's a coach's son. He has played the fundamentally sound final 5 minutes that have helped the Griffs get to the verge of pulling the upset.
Tom Parada said, hey, this is the stop that we need. They started with the full court pressure.
Yeah, Robert Goldsberry's big brother John played at UNC Wilmington. Robert trying to come up with his own March Madness here in Albany. 20 seconds left. Iona down 3.
Now, it's still plenty of time. You don't have to worry about the 3, but you got to go get a quick score. Taking a long time to develop, and because of that, Kevin Willard forced to take the timeout.
Well, terrific ball pressure to make it tough on Kyle Camper. He couldn't find anything. Then he finds Springer at the high post, who just keeps his back to the basket. And smartly, the Gales call a timeout because time was just wasting away.
Now, good timeout from the bench because nothing was happening. Not only was the clock running, but nothing was happening. So now you get an opportunity to try and dictate it. And still, at 11.7 seconds left, you still don't need the 3, but you've got to find a quick 2.
But fucking switch the ball screen. Let's go.
Right here. Well, Tom Parada has been around a few MAC tournaments over the years. This is 12th MAC tournament as a player at Fordham, then as an assistant coach at Niagara, now the head coach in year number 2 at Canisius, looking to pull the upset.
You heard him talking to his team. Don't foul a guy on a layup. We're up by 2. Also, the other thing you've got to make sure, don't give help support. Don't allow the open 3.
Camper left alone. Chooses instead to kick out to Griffin. He missed the tying 3. Logan's with the rebound. And now with 2.3 seconds remaining, the Griffs can put this game away.
And certainly off the timeout, clearly, Kevin Willard diagrammed the 3. But if you're Camper and you turn the corner and you're that wide open, go get the quick layup.
I agree. I was stunned. As open as he was, he didn't take the easy 2.
I mean, if you're not this wide open, fine, let the play run. That's the end of it as Griffin, guy that was shooting it well from beyond the 3 coming into the game, 6 of 9 over the last 3 games. But Tom Parada and Canisius, their young team, looks like going to grow up here a little bit today. They won a game in the MAC tournament in the first round last year as they were able to beat St. Peter's. Frank Turner, our Pepsi player of the game. 12 points, 6 assists, and his quickness when this game was in the balance certainly was a key for them.
Yeah, those 4 steals helped to turn the tide. Logans, who's a good free throw shooter at 73%, makes it a 2-possession ball game with that one.
And that should do it. One of the keys for Canisius as well, not only the play of Goldsberry, but how about Rashawn Johnson, the freshman, when they were stuck and not able to score, he had some big baskets, and we said it was going to be a wild weekend here in Albany. Well, we've got our first upset.
The number 10 seed from Canisius, which hasn't won a road game all season, wins its first game in the 2008 MAC Championships, knocking out number 7 seed Iona. So the Griffs will go on to play in tomorrow night's quarterfinal round against the 2nd seeds from Ryder.
0-15 on the road coming in, but this young team, they held their composure, showed some good poise coming down the stretch in their bench. Tom Parada's bench stepped up big, and then when they needed the game on the line, Frank Turner turned the corner too many times. The reason why the Griffs will be playing tomorrow.
Turner, our Pepsi player of the game, with 12 points. Rashawn Johnson and Bobby Bevilacqua, 14 points apiece. They got a little basketball from a lot of people and hung around long enough to pull it out.
And that's a good win for Tom Parada. It's not been an easy year when you win just 5 games. And that's who they'll be playing tomorrow, Jason Thompson and the Ryder Broncs.
Once again, our final score, Canisius 64, Iona 59. Join us tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. as our coverage continues with the women's semifinals. Check your local listings. For Rob Kennedy and our entire crew, I'm Doug Sherman. For more information on ESPN Plus, log on to ESPN-Plus.com. For all of us here in Albany, have a good night.